Okay, in this problem we want to find or approximate the area that's completely enclosed by these two functions, f of x equals x and g of x equals the fourth root of x. So we first need to figure out, well, where they cross. Easiest way to do that is to first let's look at a picture. So I've entered x to the 1/4 for square root. And I'm going to graph those and see what happens. If I can get it to graph. I'm going to use a Google Graph. Hang on. Okay, here is just the Google. You can see that's what I typed in Google. The Google Graph. And it looks like they cross right in here. It looks pretty obvious that that's going to be at x equals 0 and at x equals 1. And it does make sense because the fourth root of 1 is 1, and when x is 1, y is 1. So from 0 to 1, that's what we're looking at. The function that's on top is x to the fourth, the red one. And when you find area between curves, you always do top function minus the bottom function. So we're going to integrate x to the fourth minus x from x equals 0 to x equals 1. So our setup, and you might want to sketch a graph also. It doesn't really quite flatten out there. But anyways, so that's x to the fourth, and that's y equals x. So the area is equal to the integral from 0 to 1 of the fourth root of x. I'm going to just use x to the fourth minus x. So to anti-differentiate that, we add 1. So 1/4 plus 1 is 5/4. So it's 1 over 5/4 times x to the 5/4 minus the integral of x. We add 1 to that imaginary exponent there to get 2. So it's 1/2 x squared. And we're going to take it from 0 up to 1. Before I plug in the 1 and the 0, I'm going to simplify this. 1 over 5/4, that's 1 times the reciprocal of 5/4, so it's 4/5. X to the 5/4. I'm going to write that as a radical. The fifth power stays here. The 1/4 power becomes a fourth root. You don't really have to do that. I just think it makes it easier to then plug in numbers. Which in this case, since the numbers are so simple, might not matter, but if your numbers were a little bit harder, it might help. Okay, so then we plug in 1 minus plug in 0. So when we plug in 1, we have 4/5 times the fourth root of 1 is just 1, and 1 to the fifth is 1, so just 1 there. Minus 1/2 times 1 squared is 1. I'm going to leave that. Minus fourth root of 0 is 0. 0 squared is 0. So when we plug in 0, you just get 0. So our answer is 4/5 minus 1/2. And it says find or approximate to 2 decimal places. So I think it'll take your answer whether you enter it in exact or rounded form. You just need to compute 4/5 minus 1/2.